Hello, I want to be showing you how to add a shadow onto your subject. Now the first thing you have to do is go to your layers and then duplicate your subject by pressing Ctrl J onto your keyboard. And then after you've duplicated it, you can double click its name and then you can probably name it like shadow because this will let you know that's the shadow for the subject, and then drag it below your main original subject layer. And then you have to go up a bit. You're gonna have to change the blending mode of it. If you go up below kind, you see this big, like slightly larger drop down. If you click on it, you'll get all these different kind of options. You're gonna change it to multiply. This is so you have like you still have the shadows, you still have everything for that image, but as you see, it's like see-through. And then the next thing you have to do is press Control L. This will you'll get like the levels for that specific layer without making a whole new level layer. Then you grab the white arrow on the right side, then drag it to the left all the way until it says 0 right here. Or you can just type it right here. Press OK. This will make it completely black. Then what you have to do is press Control T, right click, go down all the way until you see flip vertical. And then you drag it. Make sure, depending on how you like the lighting is, you're gonna need to move your shadow. As you see, mine is like on the mountain right here, so I'm gonna have to probably move it a bit more to the left side. And the way to do that, you can do maybe different ways. You can probably turn it with the free transform, but what you can do is right click, then find the option skew. And then now you can start with the middles, with the ones in the middles, the little boxes. This will help you kind of turn it a bit. Just mess around with it. Make sure that the ends right here that's the closest to the main subject, they're like aligned together. So you can move it a bit. Make sure, let me zoom out. Kind of move it a bit right here. As I said, make sure like, because the like of depending on your lighting, if it's like on the left side, you have to move the shadow to the right side. If it's right in front of the subject, then you can keep it aligned, but you just have to make sure that the ends are like together. So let's say I got it. I can probably do a couple more fixes. Kind of like make sure, zoom in and out, zoom in. Alright, then let's say you finish, just press enter or go to the top, find the little check mark, and then you got that. Next thing we have to do is this is optional, but what you can do if you go to the brush tool, make sure you have your black color selected. And then what you can do is kind of color in like the areas where the shadow will be. It's like right here, there will be a little shadow right here because of the light hitting it. And like a bit right here, maybe like on the edges. Because you know how like a shadow will, I'll show you a bit later, but the shadow will fade. So the shadow is like closest to your hand, that would be like the darkest area. So like at the edges, these will be like the darkest areas, and it'll soon start fading out. And I'll show you that later right here. But first, just kind of like color in a bit. You can erase it, but overall, try to like kind of color in a bit here and there. The shoe's right here, so what I'm gonna have to do is add a shadow, like add a bit more of the shadow. Make sure it makes sense. Alright, then let's say you finished. The next thing you're gonna have to do is we're gonna add a blur on it. Usually it's kind of like the farther the shadow is from your hand, the kind of more blurry and it's not as like dark. So we're gonna be adding like like the blur first. So what we're gonna have to do is go to the top, find filter, go down to see blur gallery, and then find the field blur. So let's say the first part right here, we'll add the first one on where the feet is at. And then we're gonna have to lower the blur. This is like the more focused shadow. That's where like the darkest part of the shadow will be. So we're just gonna lessen the shadow, the blur, excuse me. And then we're gonna go to the head right here. That's like where the head is at. Gonna put a blur point right here. Then I'm gonna increase the blur. Say like about, say like right here. Maybe about like, you can increase it to however you like. I'll put like a 40, like a 64. That's fine. Maybe a bit less. Like a, let's say right here is probably good. A 50. And then just go up, press OK or enter. Let it load. And then what we have to do next, we're gonna add a mask to it. So what we have to do, let's go to your layers, go down, find the little camera little option. It'll say add a layer mask. Click on it. You can either press G or find the little like option below the eraser above the little finger pointing. It'll look like a little gradient or it might be like a little bucket. It'll be called the gradient tool. Make sure you have your gradient selected. Make sure you have like black to like white. So like this one right here, click it, the basics. Make sure you have your black color foreground selected as your foreground, the black color. And then hold left click right here on the head and then drag all the way to the feet. Then as you see, now there's that shadow. Remember as I said from before again, whenever the farther it is, the shadow isn't as like dark, isn't as strong. And but let's just say you don't want it like this. Let's say you make it a mistake and you know sometimes you might need to like redo the gradient because you didn't want it like this. Well, instead of like restarting, redoing it many times, this is what I learned actually not that long ago. But if you go to your layers, find the layer that you made a shadow, the gradient, the mask. Find this little chain. This is what helps you link both the mask and the layer, the shadow layer. If you click on it, make sure you have your mask selected. You can actually move it. If you press Control T, and then you actually move the shadow. Excuse me, not the shadow, but the gradient. So you can kind of move the gradient, change it however you like. And then what you can do is just press enter or press the check mark. And there you go. So now go down to the layer panel, find the little circle with half white, half black, click on it, go up all the way until you find the levels, until you find the option that's named levels. Click on it. Now you get this whole new properties panel. But before we start messing with it, go until you find the little box with the little arrow going down that's crossed out. Click on it until there's no cross right here. This is so it's clipped to the layer below it. Right here. As you see right here, it's clipped to the man right here. So if you ever make any changes on this properties levels panel, it'll only affect him. Now let's say like if I want to start messing with it and it wasn't clipped, it'll just start affecting the whole image. But if I have it on, as you see, it'll only affect him with whatever I do. And what we're gonna be doing is casting a shadow. We're gonna be adding like his shadow like on him. So we're gonna find the little like white bar, the output levels. Find the little white arrow. Then we're gonna be going down This will help him, so this will help just like adding the shadow with it. Let's say I want to add, I say this is probably about fine, like right here, 115. I'll be fine. I can always change it later on after you've made, like after you start adding more things on it. You can probably start changing a bit here and there, because like right now it might seem fine, but later on it might not like fit with the atmosphere, so you can just add some more adjustments. But for now, this is fine. And then now that you've added that, we're gonna be trying to add a highlight. What we did just now, we're just adding his shadow for like the shadow right here, making it blend in more. So we will make a new levels, add a clipping mask, add a clipping, make sure add a clipping mask. But this time we're not gonna be messing with these output levels right here, but the ones above it. Because what these pretty much do, it changes their like similar to brightness, but like it's like they either go black or white, not necessarily like their brightness. Because let's say we do the left one, I see he's just going white, and we do the white one how we did before, he's just going like completely black. But with the ones above it, it's like similar to how you would do with brightness. As you see, it's like similar to how making it white, but not completely. We're gonna be messing with the right side, with the right arrow, and we're gonna be moving it to the left. This is so we're gonna make it bright, so adding more brightness to it. And let's say about 58 right here. Now make sure you have the second level so you've made the second level that you've made so that you add the highlights. Press Control I on the mask. As you see right here, now it's black. The it's pretty much been reversed. But you can start adding it back if you have your brush tool. I have a video more about highlights in another video. I'll put the link in the description so you can understand more about highlights. I would just be helping you like make like a little basic about it just so you have like a good understanding about it, just so you're not confused. So just make sure you have your brush tool out and make sure you have white as your foreground. As you see right here, it's white. You can press X to change between the two colors. And now we're going to be adding the highlights. So just go over. Make sure you have the correct level selected. The second level that you've added the brightness on. And then what we'll be doing is, as I said, adding the highlights. Gonna change the flow a bit here and there. Let's do this. As you see right here, we're just gonna add in areas where the light will hit the jacket. And kind of maybe a bit bigger right here. Well, you can. There's like two little different ways you can do it. You can do like a big brush, kind of just get all over the place, and then what you can do is you press X. You have black as your foreground, as you see, and then you can take out certain areas. This way you can do it, or another way you can do it is you can do like little spots first, like a smaller area, and then you can just add on from there. And then maybe here and there add some big splotches, take it out. And also understand what you're adding the highlights on and how it's shaped and everything. Like this jacket, you see has like different wrinkles and everything. So you have to understand that some areas of the wrinkles, if you look at like this, like your blanket, there's like little like a lot of shadows with like where the wrinkles are at, where the light is not hitting it. It's like similar to like the jacket. So right here, like right here, wouldn't really be a hit much, but right here it would, because where the light is hitting it. So just kind of understand that. And it's not with the jacket, obviously. It's with anything that you're trying to do. So you kind of just kind of go over right here, take out right here. And then you just be doing this all over your subject that you're adding the highlight on. Can add a big splotch. Another thing that you can do is you can also lessen the flow. It's like right here. You see on the shoulder? It's super bright. So I can do to kind of decrease the brightness is you can probably like decrease the flow a bit and then just kind of change your foreground. Kind of go a bit back right here and then kind of take it out. Or another way you can use it is, as I said before, whenever you make the big like splotches, you can decrease the flow. So, because the flow helps you, it's like similar to opacity, but it doesn't work like that. Opacity is like the transparency, but the flow is like the strength of the brush. So you kind of just use it to decrease it a bit, just so it's not like so strong of a hard brush. It's like similar to having like a feather brush, kind of in its own way, but oh, and also another thing is make sure you have your hardness to 0. That'll help a lot because you have that feather, so it helps you blend in with the highlights and it'll blend into like the shadow. So you can kind of just go around right here. Oh, and as you see right here, maybe like right here, I don't need to add the highlight because this, I forgot what it's called for some reason. The, I don't know why I forgot what it's called. I'm gonna just call it the handle for well, that's the handle, but I'm gonna say like the handle that you probably hold over your shoulder, like around your neck, just so like it doesn't fall off. So I kind of forgot what it's called. Um, you will probably just try to take out because it's covering the bit of the hand. So I will just probably just take it out a bit. Probably just like right here. Still kind of keep the outline a bit right here because it's like the edge. Just take it out a bit. There you go. You should also make sure on like let's say like it's a person, make sure on their pose, on how they're posing. Cause like, let's say right here on their hand, it's in front of it's like a bit of it's in front of the body near the side, but mainly like kind of like more like the front fingers are like in front of them. So it won't be in the shadow compared to the hand right here, like in the palm. But like the fingers, maybe like right here, it'll still get a bit of the highlight. So I just get a bit of it right here. It still seems to be quite on the side. Just kind of like a bit like near like the front of the waist, kind of on the side. So kind of get like a bit of it. And then there you go. Probably still gonna need a bit more. Maybe fix the feet just a bit. I mean like mainly it seems fine. Maybe like the edge right here. Just a bit, but not by much. Kind of just get like the edges a bit. Maybe sharpen the edges. Like kind of add a bit more brightness perhaps. As I said, you can always change the levels if you like. Like you can perhaps make it a bit bright if you like. So just go back to, let's say, like the other one. You kind of increase it. Just don't do it too much because we don't want, just don't make it too much. Just a reasonable, well, a reasonable amount. But I say 58 is good. I put it back to 58. And then maybe like the shadow, you can also decrease it a bit. Try and see how things work. But this is fine overall. As you see, first we added just the shadow on the ground, and then we added a shadow on him, and then we added the highlights. Fits now he fits much more compared to whenever he had no shadow, no highlights, no nothing on him. As you see, just a picture, just two different pictures. You can just tell he came from a separate picture. Add the shadows. Now it looks like he's actually part of the image. There could be probably a few more adjustments. I can probably change the grading a bit. And change it a bit. Like that could be good. Like just change the thing a bit. There you go. I'd say like that's good too. You can always change how things are, change the levels to your preference. But that's how you add the shadows, the highlights right here. It could be kind of tedious just adding shadows and everything. But the more you focus on the shadows, the more you start adding them, it'll help you a lot with the image, the picture, what you're trying to do overall. Makes it like what's the word for it? Like not blend, but like it just makes it look much better. I forgot the word. It's like pops out. That's the word. Like it just helps it like kind of pop out, makes it much better. Now that's how you add a shadow on the ground, and that's how you add a shadow on him with some highlights. Make sure you have the correct highlights. Make sure you don't add them on like the wrong places. Like you don't need to add it right here. It doesn't make sense. There's no light on it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this helped you, and I'll see you next time.